So how's the prep been going?
The practice, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going good overall, I will say. I have been practice with a lot of gold players and silver players for now. Uh, it's going good, good.
Do you
Overall,
pra
good.
do you practice with Wokul? He's Chilean as well, right? Uh
Waku?
WHOCL. I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's in
UCL?
silver. Wasiel, yeah, that's it. Wasiel.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I didn't
No,
know
no,
if it
I
was
don't
a hard
practice.
C or a soft C.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
No, no, I
Wasiel,
don't, I
yeah.
don't, I don't practice with him. No, no, no,
No,
no.
no.
No, we are not close friends, so I
Ah,
don't. Yeah, no, I don't practice with him. I just practice with for this tournament. Overall, I think in general, my practice teammates sometimes are Sebastian, Dogao,
yeah,
Whitecourt, that is my teammate. Sometimes I get some insights from her as well.
yeah,
Not practice sessions, but some thoughts on the maps or something like that.
yeah,
Uh, but for this tournament, I have been practice with Neos, with Thers, with Thunderbolt,
yeah.
yeah, and a few more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting to kind of hear who's who people practice with and who they don't. Because I know like Viper will probably just practice with like Doubt and Jordan, and I know Hera practices with like ACCM and like obviously he's with like Hart and Leary now as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, going back to what we were saying before, like I'm looking at Silver League right now, and even Silver League is like kind of stacked. Like it's got like Starks in there, like Bad Koala, Survivalist, like Say My Name, Gabby's in there, like it's antagonist. Like these aren't like bad players, you know what I mean? Like I mean, I know no one's bad at this level, but they're not like all of these players could be playing in S tier tournaments. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that like the the minimum rated player in Silver League is like 2K4. So
yeah,
it's like it's really high level, you know.
yeah.
It's Silver League, so it's really high level.
Yeah, the level's crazy now. So hello everyone, and welcome to a very special S tier tournament preview video where we will discuss the fifth iteration of T90's Titan League Platinum event, which begins on January 26th and has a total prize pool of $64,000. I'm your host, TFGTV, and joining me today to provide his insights is the best Chilean player and someone who will be competing in TTL Gold this year, Sobek. Sobek, thank you for joining me.
It's my
So,
pleasure, man.
no, thank you very much. And in today's preview video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the groups, the map pool, and the tournament as a whole. Before we do that, Sobek, how are you finding the map pool at the moment? How are you finding the practice on these maps?
Honestly, I don't really like the map pool too much.
Yeah,
I'm more like of a standard guy, you know. I
yeah,
just enjoy more the standard ones, like Gold Rush. I don't know, no, the standard stuff. But I think it's it's nice. I mean, it's not that bad, honestly. I just hate the water and like water, like Coast Arena, you know, that kind of stuff. Like it's not
yeah,
the Zimbabwe, you know, that kind of Stonewall maps. Or
yeah.
I just don't really like. But overall, I think it's good.
I was looking at the split of the maps, and it's the way I kind of generally categorize them is closed maps, open maps, chaotic maps, semi-open, nomadic. There are four closed maps on the map pool, which I feel like is quite high. And there's normally semi-open and hybrid maps dominate, but we don't really have that many kind of semi-open, wallable-ish maps. They're either very open, they're either closed, or they're water or they're chaotic. Like it feels like it's set up for entertainment, but not necessarily for ease and experience. And we've just had a King of the Desert where we saw you know fair enough, a relatively open Arabia, but still Arabia which people are familiar with, and we had some really good sets. But now we're kind of giving seven out of the 15 maps that we've got are just we've never seen before in S tier play. So it's going to be very interesting, and I can imagine that's makes it a lot more difficult to practice when you don't have maps that you don't have to spend as much time practicing, like Arabia, Cross, Arena, Nomad, maps that you're just used to, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more difficult when you don't have like the right insights on the maps. You have to practice more to really get and like let what is the best civilization for kind of map. Make your own tier list of the ships. So you have to definitely put a little bit more effort on that on the practice set. But
yeah, well, and we'll get into that as we go through. I think what I want to go through and talk about a bit more is the different maps and just your insights really on where you think different civs might come into play. I've got some stats that I'll throw in as well, just to for maps that we have seen before and for ones we haven't seen before. Maybe we get some more of your insights as well, just on how they on how you kind of expect them to go. Before we do that, I think it would be good to take a look at the groups. So for those who haven't experienced a TTL tournament before, TTL is effectively played in a league format, which means each round is a round robin, play all 3 games. Every map win scores you a point, and then the winner of each group advances directly to the quarterfinals. The second place players of each group advance to the round of 12, where they have to compete for a spot in the quarterfinals. The third place player doesn't advance, but is safe from relegation, and the bottom 2 players from each group are then relegated to the Gold League next season and will be replaced by the qualifiers from this year's Gold League, which we hope will include Sobek. And from there, the finals are played in a tournament style with a best of 5 series in the round of 12 and the quarterfinals, and a best of 7 series for the semifinals and final. Now, the groups that we have, and I'll bring those up on screen as well, for Platinum are a little bit mixed. I think it's fair to say Group B is probably the group of death. Having looked at the group, so Group B is Siscan, Hart, Hera, Lucho, Vinchester, and Yo. Obviously, Sobek, you beat Lucho in Gold League last year, if I'm not mistaken. How do you kind of rate his chances? Because obviously he did really well, I think, in King of the Desert 6. But coming into that type of group where you've got Hera, Vinchester, Yo, and Hart on the same group, and Siscan's not a bad player either, how do you kind of see him faring in that group? Do you think he can get through that?
It's tough to say. I think Lucho has improved a lot since the last TTL. But I still feel like he lacks experience in terms of different stylish maps, like he's really good at Arabia style map, kind of, but maybe hybrid maps or water maps, he's not that really good. So I don't know. It's tough to say. I definitely see it like 4th or even 4/4 of the group. But I don't think he's gonna do that bad, honestly. I think that he will maybe surprise us this season.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling with this because I think we were talking a little bit before we started and saying that you think the maps are set up to cause upsets, right? So the maps are there to so that underdogs can actually go in and win these games. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it would be crazy for any of Hart, Hera, Vinchester, and Yo to drop into gold. But I think it is absolutely possible. Probably not Hera, but I think it's absolutely possible that one of those might actually drop into gold this year, based on the maps and based on, like you say, Lucho's improvement as well.
Yeah, I think the maps definitely are made to make some upsets happen. Yeah. I mean, everything can happen. I still see like Hera going number 1 for sure. Maybe 2 is going to be Mr. Yo for sure, I think, or Vinchester or Hart. I don't know.
It's hard, right?
Tough to say. Yeah, it's tough to say. But yeah.
No, every time I look at the table, I'm just like, yeah, I kind of did a similar thing to you. I was like, yeah, Hart, like Hera first, Yo, but then maybe Vinchester, but then maybe Hart, and I'm like, oh, that's the top four already gone, you know. And it's but
Yeah.
if like you say, if a couple of upsets happen, then that can really swing a group. I think another interesting thing that I noticed was in Group C. So Group C, I think, is really tricky as well. I think Lewis, again, by virtue of just not having a lot of S tier tournament experience, kind of comes in as maybe an underdog, but he's like one of the best players in the world at the moment as well. And then you've got Sebastian, who can beat anyone on his day as well. He's like really up and coming. ACCM, freaking Andy. Freaking Andy's actually quite good on water maps historically. So he's got a really good record on water maps, but running is in S tier tournaments is 6 out of 7 on closed maps. So I don't know if that will suit someone like running as well. So could also be a group where I think like anyone could go down, anyone could qualify. Have you? What are your thoughts on Group C?
I think Group C, for me at least, ACCM is the favorite to win the group.
Yeah.
But as you said, like Lewis is playing like really well. Actually, really well. I will say I'm really surprised about his run in the Empire Wars ladder. So yeah, it's a bit of tricky. I think these kind of maps obviously are way better for players like freaking Andy are running because they are such weird maps, weird looking maps with the stone walls, with water maps. So it's a tricky one. My personal opinion is that ACCM is going to be first, but like it's a league format, so every like point is really important. So I can definitely see Luis or Nikov or Sebastian or anyone going like second, third, fourth. I'm not really sure honestly. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think you can kind of say the same for all of them, maybe except for Group D. But then, I look at Group D and then I look at Viper, who, Viper can be the Viper that we saw at King of the Desert and can absolutely, destroy everyone. But then Viper can be, he lost to Dark in that series, that playoff free series in TTL 4. And then you've got players like Sito and Mihai and when you start looking at those players, you're kind of like, well, I think any of those players on their day could beat the Viper as well, right? So it's even that where I think like Viper's probably got the best group, like just on a purely just looking at the names, but I feel like that could be a tricky group as well.
Yeah. Like you said, like Viper can win against Sito, for example, but then lost to Dark. So that can make like the positions a little bit awkward. But my personal opinion is that Viper is going to be first in that group. I think he's just like well-round player, in all kind of maps. He has a lot of experience. So I still can see Viper as a number one, but yeah, definitely the underdogs, Dark, Mihai, and Sito against the Viper, definitely they have chances to win. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say that Viper is gonna go first on the group. Honestly.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree, and I think one of the things that I didn't know about the Viper, obviously completely well-rounded on different maps as well. He's got a really good record on closed maps specifically too. He's got 7 out of 10 wins versus Hera on closed maps since 2020. So obviously it's going back before the streak. But yeah, it's that was something that surprised me because Hera himself has a really good record on closed maps. So but the Viper again does well on those maps too. And I think that can, again, these types of maps where experience comes into play, having when you don't have as much time to practice and when there's a lot of new maps in the map pool, just having that kind of strategic sense and knowing what to do can really come into play there, I think. And then with Group A, I mean, for me, this looks a lot clearer in terms of who I think will go through. I don't know if you feel the same, but I'm looking at that and thinking, Leary, MBL, Tato probably go through as the top three. I don't know if you think the same or if you think any, like Bars obviously is a great player as well. If you think Lix or Rapard have a chance there too.
Honestly, I think Leary MBL Tats are the favorites for sure. But honestly, Barrels has really surprised me as well in the Empire Wars ladder
Yeah.
this last week. So I definitely can see him beating like Leary 2-1 or MBL 2-1, especially because these maps, like I said before, are so weird. Some of them, so many Stonewalls, so many like possibilities. So I definitely can see Barrels stalling the third place on the group. But yeah, for leagues and Repar is gonna be really tough.
Yeah.
Really tough group. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like you say, we will see some upsets. I think it always makes a tournaments a bit more interesting when you have that type of situation. You know, I think last year where we saw Dark go on his run, I think that was such a great story. And I think, you know, Nikov getting as far as he did in that tournament as well was really strong as well. It was nice to see him, you know, having been around the scene for so long. Also just get to a semi-final too. Just briefly on your Gold League group as well. I'm just looking at it now. That's a tough group. Like that's a like Doubt dropping into Gold League, I think is really tough. Having Doubt and Capoch there, I think is quite interesting. Also, Fire. These are players who have been around for years, right? Like, how are you feeling about your group in particular for Gold?
I think it's not bad. I if I'm not mistaken, the group are made. The draft is like random. It's random map, random draft for the groups. I think so. Could be it could have been worse, honestly. But
Yeah.
it's not that bad. It's gonna be hard for sure. It's gonna be hard for sure. But yeah, I just have to play. You know, you have to play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know, I think like say like there isn't an easy group in that. Like I'm looking at these groups, I'm seeing Jordan, Kingstone, Magugu, Ganji, Dogao. Like that's like Utsi. That's not an easy group. Classic Pro, Daniel, Dudaju, Casver, Stone Please, Ters. Again, not easy. Miguel, Overtaken, Prisma, Valas, Veleza, and Wide. Like these are all great players, right? Like you're never. I think the like we were saying before, the level is so high now. You're not going to be able to go into a group and see someone and be like, oh yeah, like I'm definitely going to beat them 10 times out of 10. Like it's always going to take a lot of work. And but yeah, obviously wish you the best, and I'm sure we'll see some great games, and I'll be watching your games as well.
Thank you.
So when we talk about the maps in the T90 Titans League this year, we've got 7 new maps that haven't been seen in S tier play before. We've got some maps that have previously been seen and some maps that have been seen in A tier tournaments. We even have some maps that haven't been seen at all in any tournament. So that's going to be really interesting too. So just going through the map pool, we've got Bypass. So players start in the middle of a large forest connected through a single path that's closed off by palisade walls. The sides of the forest hold abundance of golden stone as well as bushes for foraging. So looking at the most common matchups on here, the most common bypass game is Turks v Malay, which has happened 3 times, and the Malay have won 2 out of those 3. Turks are the most selected civ on bypass with 8 games, but have only actually won 4 of them. Malay have won 3 out of the 4 they've played, and Portuguese have won 3 out of 4 as well. Teutons have only been selected twice, but they've won both times as well. And I think that's for the Teuton Tower Rush, I think, as well. Like, I think we saw Hera do that maybe last time this was played. So how do you approach this type of map? How do you approach this type of closed map where you have that kind of narrow pass in the middle? What are you thinking in terms of civs? You know, are they the types of civs, things like civs like Malay, Portuguese, Teutons, Turks that you would generally think about drafting for this map, or are there any others that you think would do quite well here?
Honestly, I don't really like, let's say, like closest map. So I don't have really probably the 100% right insight on this. But in the case of bypass, I think you have really you really need you have like 2 approaches. Like you can go FC right away, or you can go like forward in feudal age. And the reason is that you can't really build in the middle, you know.
Yeah.
But you can wall your enemy in front of the palisades in the middle. Right. So if you manage to go forward, for example, men at arms towers, I don't know, and your enemy is going FC, it's gonna be really tough for you because he can wall you up in the middle and then gain all the map control on the sides. So I think that are the two probably most right approach. Like you go FC and try to defend. If the feudal approach is happening, you can wall your enemy really fast with palisades, I don't know, and then you can go like forward. So I think the best civilizations there, or the cities that are going to seem to be the most seen in that, maybe Bohemians, Turks, Malay, Burmese, Burgundians, Bengali, Armenians, maybe. I don't know about the Armenians, but I can see definitely Burmese and the other ones. Yeah.
Can you see any of the new civs being utilized? Obviously, I think we're not going to be in time for the new DLC for this tournament. I don't know if they'll be allowed to be played maybe later on. I know this is a long tournament, so the release is actually in the middle of TTL. So I don't know what the plan is there. If the free new civs are going to be able to be used, but in terms of like the free K civs, the new Chinese civs, do you see any of those being utilized on this? I can't really see it, but just wanted to get your thoughts on those on that as well.
I mean, if you're talking about the new DLC, I don't think it's going to be used, honestly. I think that the admins will make you play in the previous patch, you know?
Yeah.
But about the new civs that are already here, like Chu Wei, I definitely can see Wei playing here, honestly. But I don't know about Wu and Chu and the other ones. Definitely not.
Yeah, that's I was kind of looking at the data and I was looking at the map and I was just like, I can't see any of those. Yeah, I agree. I can't really see any of those civs being used. But it's always worth just getting an idea. Now, the next map that I wanted to talk about is probably my favorite map that I've seen in a map pool in its Coast Arena, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's arena, but with water all around the map's edge. So there's open space towards your opponents and relics in the center, forests on both sides of the base, just like arena, but there's opportunity for fish booms and for landing around the back. The whole island is surrounded by shallows, which close to the player's base, turning their starting walls into seawalls. So there's some seawalls there, but it is open. Now, my low elo brain, I'm about 1200. So my low elo brain is looking at this and is thinking, civs that are both good on water and closed maps. So I'm thinking Byzantines, I'm thinking Malay, I'm thinking Saracens with the transport ships. If you want to, if you want to fill it with Mamelukes and go ham on the opponent's economy, Koreans and Portuguese. Those are the types of civs that I'm thinking here. How do you even approach this type of map? Because the only other kind of walled water or hybrid map that we really have or we've really seen is Copenhagen. I think I can't think of many other maps that are used commonly or played commonly in NS tier tournaments that are walled and have like are hybrid maps. So how do you even go about approaching the strategy for this type of map?
Honestly, I don't know if I
Is this just an insta ban for you?
I mean, yeah. Honestly, I haven't played this map like once. Like, in all the practice sessions, this map has been banned like forever.
By everyone,
obviously, I know the maps because I played on a few team games tournament. I think. Blue Carbon Cup maybe is the name. So you have two options. Like you can go warrior approach. Or you can go like fast castle approach with a unique unit, which is really tricky because if you play water and let's say I'm Italian, so I play water, then my enemy goes, I don't know, Spanish and forward castle, I'm completely dead, honestly. Yeah. It's really tough. It's really tough. So I honestly don't know.
Do you think we'll see it at all? Or do you think everyone's just going to ban it?
No, I think definitely some players are going to pick it as a home map, especially because there's no many games played on this map. One against one. So I think we are definitely gonna see it, and we are gonna see some cheeky strategies, But
I reckon we'll see a lot of cheese on that. And I think I said to you before, there are maps that I'm looking at in this map pool that I would love to watch and I would hate to play. And Coast Arena is definitely a hate to play, love to watch map. Like I'm really looking forward to seeing some games on it, but the idea of me playing that map, like if it ever came up on the map pool and ranked, I'd just ban it straight away. Like it's probably the worst possible map for me. But yeah, I'm
for me
looking
as well, man.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. So we're kind of running through the closed maps, and obviously there are a lot of closed maps in this Titans League iteration. The next one is Zimbabwe. So this is also another closed map. So the description of this map is the map spawns players in a resource-rich stone-walled base, but the walled base is actually very small. To their left, players have plenty of hunt to fight over, and the rich mines on the right must be contested for extra stone and gold on the map. So this is similar. This is a kind of mixed type of map as well, right? Because it's not just a kind of closed map like arena, but you've also got a section of the map that contains basically most of the golden stone that you need to fight for, which makes it similar to something like Gold Rush or Golden Swamp or something along those lines. What is your thought process in terms of approaching this type of map? Like, what strategy do you think you're going to go for from your perspective? Again, are you just thinking of really good closed map civ, or are you looking for civs like Britons, for example, who do really well on something like Golden Swamp, where there's like a kind of central resource to fight over?
I think overall, I think definitely the really good close map sips are the best here. Probably Bohemians, Portuguese, Bengali. We're gonna see a lot of monks here for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I so this is really interesting. So just in terms of like closed maps in general, one of the most common matchups on closed maps has been the Viper v Tato, which we might see down the line in the finals. That's actually been really even with them as well. So the Vipers won 8 of those, Tato's won 7 of those. As I mentioned before, the Vipers got 7 out of 10 wins on versus Hera on closed maps since 2020. Hera, one of the interesting things about Hera on this is that he's 9 for 9 versus Yo on closed maps. So that kind of messes with my head a bit, because in my head I feel like Yo's a really strong closed map player. I would have thought he would have taken a couple of games off Hera, but apparently not. And yeah, so from Hera's perspective, if he's watching, he is subscribed to the channel, by the way, so he should be. You know, Hera, maybe focus on that if you end up playing, oh, you will end up playing Yo, because you're in the same group. So I think we kind of get the idea now with some of the closed maps. One of the maps we have seen quite a lot, or we have seen previously, we've seen it in the Noble Apartment Cup, Hidden Cup 5, Hidden Cup 4, and Hidden Cup 3, is High Tides. So High Tides, players begin on opposite sides of a horizontal strip of desert grass. In the north is an island of gold accessible by a strip of shallows where there's deep fish available. In the south, another strip of shallows provides access to gold, stone, and hunt. The most common matchup on this map is Japanese Mirror, which has happened 8 times. Other civs that have been popular in the past are Persians, Lithuanians, Malians. I know I asked you about Malians previously on hybrid maps and why why they're so often selected. And it's just both you and Hera said that with hybrid maps, that's super snowbally, right? So the more eco bonuses that you can get, if you can get multiple eco bonuses, double eco bonuses, that can really help you snowball quickly. Is that your thought process going into a map like High Tides, or is there other things that you want to consider there as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think every time you play like a hybrid map, you have to focus in the amounts of resources you can save, especially on the opening. So obviously the best civilizations here are the one who save the most. Probably you have like, I don't know, Persians, Japanese, Lithuanians, you have extra resources,
Yeah.
Malians probably is going to be seen a lot. Yeah, definitely. I think that's the right thought. Yeah.
So in terms of how you play that map, and it feels like in some of the recordings that I've watched of High Tides in the past, and when I've watched it, it feels similar to Cross in a way, in the sense that you kind of go for the dock early. Would that be your kind of plan on High Tides? Would you go to dock early, or would you how long do you wait before getting that first dock up?
I think it's just like playing like 4 leagues. That's the simplest way to see it. Like you
Yeah.
just need the dock earlier. And then you can choose if you want to win the water with a double dock approach, or you want to go main arms with a really nice infantry seat. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So another, I didn't really know how to describe this map other than a chaotic map. So one of the other maps in the map pool is Monocole.
Yep.
And I was watching TWest stream last night, and I saw a Silver League game. I think it was Dennis, and I can't remember who he was playing. I think it maybe Nahu. But basically, that was the Dravidians versus Romans, and that immediately shouts to me. Infantry going after the exposed shorefish. So for Monocole, for those who don't know, players spawn on opposite sides of a kind of semi-open forest, but you spawn very close together. So I think laming could be a thing for those types of maps. The outer ring of the forest contains elevated ponds with lots of shorefish, and then on the outer side is stone, gold, and additional wood lines. Is that kind of infantry play something you're expecting on this type of map? And from your perspective, is this a map that you would be happier on an open map, where you can put pressure on early, where you can be more aggressive, or is it kind of too close for comfort sometimes, and it's a bit too? It can get too. Do you expect it to get a bit too chaotic?
I think this map is going to be most of the times chaotic. You know, you have a lot of fish on the close to your base. You have a lot of food, so definitely the infantry ships here are the best. So we are going to see a lot of Armenians, a lot of Japanese, Romans, Wu, a lot of civilizations that you can spam, just spam infantry, and it's gonna be really chaotic, this map for sure.
Is this on your ban list, or is this something that you'd think you'd get a bit more enjoyment out of?
No, it's not on my ban list. In my ban list, definitely it's not my favorite map, but I can definitely see myself playing because it's really easy to play. It's like just spam army, be careful with your fishing villagers, and that's it. Basically,
Yeah, yeah. The stone terrain around those ponds, I haven't actually seen it yet. Is that wallable, that terrain around the shorefish?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think it's not wallable. I think it's not.
Okay.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Maybe practice
I haven't played that much this map, honestly. I have played just once. Just one time the last week. So I didn't even wall the shortfish. I just make a tower.
Yeah. I'm not trying to expose your strategies either as well. So if you if you want to hold it, yeah, feel free to hold things back if you need to. Okay, so next one is Mudflow. So Mudflow is an open map. So players begin with town centers on a pond on opposite sides of mangrove shallows lake with many large woodlines. On the outskirts of the map is grassy terrain with stone and gold deposits for players and space for players to farm. The most common matchup on this, I think, unsurprisingly, with a pond on the TC is Chinese Mirror. That's by far the most common matchup with 4 games. Just a couple of interesting thoughts for you going into your group of Doubt. Doubt has only won 1 of 4 games on this map. So if this is one that you're particularly interested in, or particularly feel like you have a good chance with, that might be something to target. It's also a strong Hera map. Hera's got 4 out of 5 games on this, but Hera's also really good with the Chinese. MBL is also quite good on Mudflow. He's got 3 out of 3 wins on Mudflow as well. What are your thoughts on this one? Like, I think it's, for me, obviously, anytime there's a TC on a pond, in the data that I've looked at, Chinese tend to be picked for the extra line of sight, and also, collecting the shorefish, I think, is the fastest collecting food source from villagers as well. So that means that obviously you're having less idle TC time as well. Do you see it? What other civs do you see here other than Chinese? Because in the data they look like the most popular. But what are your thoughts going into this? Like, do you ban Chinese if you see mudflows in the map pool, or do you try and pick them yourself? Like, how do you kind of approach that?
I mean, I think Chinese are definitely one of the best ships in this map. I'm not sure if it's the best, but definitely one of the best.
Who do you think is the best?
I don't know. It's tough to say. Magyars are really good as well here. Chinese is really good. Maybe Jurchens is really good as well. I think those three are probably the best ships. Franks are really good because you have two butches, but I don't see it like better than Chinese. I definitely see Chinese being the best here, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
What is it about, just from my perspective, again, my low brain needs a bit more insight. So your Jurchens and Magyars, is that just due to the scout play, or is there anything else about the civs that make them particularly good on Mudflow?
Mudflow, at least for me, is a really aggressive map, and you can go either like men at arms probably if you have another civ, or you can just play a scout. For me, a scout is the most common play here.
Yeah.
So you need a really good scout civilization. Like with Jurchens, you can save food. With Franks, you have two butches and 3 horse collars. With Magyars, you have cheaper scouts and +1 attack. So they are really tricky civs, and you can just spam like pikes forward forever, like with Magyars, and sending scouts and pikes and scouts and pikes. I remember this map being played, I think, 2 Titans League before, and it was really aggressive. So definitely the scout civilization are the best here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay. So Northern Crossings, one of the first of a couple of water maps, along with Seychelles here as well. Obviously, water maps are some of the most banned maps in all tournaments. I think just because the less the less you have to think about, and I think when you're playing water maps, there's so many different things to think about, and I think losing water on water maps particularly can be quite tricky and can almost be a game ender. So for everyone that doesn't know, Northern Isles is an island-style map focusing on aggression and the possibility of landing. So players start with a transport ship, allowing players to reach their enemies' islands for free and very quickly. Byzantines and Koreans are the most selected civs on Northern Crossings. I've got Koreans written down, so now I said Koreans, so Northern. That was very funny. I'm leaving that in. So Byzantines and Koreans are most selected civs on Northern Crossing, with 3 games each. Other civs that have been chosen quite a lot on this map are Armenians, Byzantines, Dravidians, and also Koreans as well. How do you approach water maps? Like, how do you feel about them? Are you one of those players that's just like, I hate water maps, I'd want to I ban them as soon as I see them, I don't like them being in the map pool, or are you more open to it, and do you quite enjoy playing them?
I don't mind water maps, honestly. I think you have like 2 types of water maps: the ones that are pure water, like Iceland, for example, and then you have like the ones that you have like that land factor, like Northern Iceland. So
yeah,
I just don't mind. I really like Northern Islands, honestly. I think it's more like an economy economy map, sorry. Or like an aggressive map. Well, obviously you can, in Northern Crossing, you have like the way to cross to the other land, so you can play like really aggressive, and that's really good for the map, I think. So yeah, honestly, I don't mind this map. It's really good, honestly.
Would you look at like a civ like Saracens here, just for the additional capacity of transport ships, or is there a reason you wouldn't look at a civ like Saracens, because they haven't been picked that often on this map?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I think when you're playing a tournament and you have like different kind of maps, you have to choose the best civilization for your style in the particular style. For example, what I mean is, like, you have Italians, right? So Italians, and you have to play like Nomad and Iceland. So where do you play Italians if you have it? Nomad or Iceland, let's say. So Saracen, at least for me, is way better for a aggressive kind of map, or like semi-open kind of map. Let's say enclosed, for example.
Yeah,
I will definitely play Saracen on enclosed rather than a water map. So I think for this particular map, the best ships are the ones like have a really nice water bonus and really nice economy. So Koreans, Bengali, Portuguese, Dravidians, Armenians, Byzantines, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. One of the other maps that's in the pool this year as well is Quarry. And I saw someone on I think it was on T90 stream or on TWest stream. There was a comment where someone said, "Oh, I can't wait for Quarry. We're just going to see Britain's mirror like pretty much every time." And I was looking at it, and the Britons do have a 3 out of 3 win rate on Quarry in S-tier tournaments, so they are popular. So Quarry, for those of you who don't know, between the 2-player starting bases is an open quarry with the flanks protected by a thin wood line, so you can't get around the sides without chopping through. There's a small amount of gold in the player's starting base. Once that's depleted, they have to compete for the gold on the central cracked terrain. And obviously that terrain goes downhill as well. So building a castle on that area is pretty tricky because it's going to be vulnerable to trebuchets. How do you approach this map? Again, do you approach it the same as you would something like Gold Rush or Golden Swamp, where you've got that kind of central resource in the middle that you have to fight for, or does the cracked terrain, the fact that it's in a dip, does that kind of change things in terms of how you think about it?
I think like you have two ways of approaching this map because it's a really easy to wall map, you know.
Yeah.
So you can rather go like really fast wall and try to go FC. I remember I think Barles playing with the Spanish a lot of time in this map,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Spanish are also
Which is,
popular. Yeah.
yeah, they're really good. You know, you can play like unique unit, you can play like monks with Inquisition. You know, they're really good. This is a really kind of monk play style, you know. But also you can go really aggressive, try to play the rush, maybe try to send a villager forward in the Dark Age because you are really close to your enemy, you know.
Yeah.
So you can really be really aggressive in Feudal Age, try to break the walls, you know, make arson with mere arms. I don't know. So yeah, I think we're gonna be we are gonna definitely see a lot of Britons here.
Yeah.
Especially because they are really good booming and just focus in one side of the map, you know.
Yeah.
We are not gonna see a lot of cavalry ships here for sure. We are going more to like see Bohemians, Britons, maybe Vietnamese, Bengali for sure, you know, that kind of ships.
Yeah. Yeah, like you say, lots of monk play as well. That's going to be quite interesting to see too, I think. But yeah, it would be great not to see like a Britain mirror every game, because I think that could kind of get stale. But yeah, it's is this the type of map I'm getting the feeling from you that you prefer the more open maps. Is that fair? Is this something that you'd be quite happy playing on, or where you can be aggressive, or is there anything about this map you're like, oh, I really kind of dread playing this type of map?
Personally, I prefer semi-open maps like Enclosed, Arabia, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't mind Quarry, honestly, because even though if your enemy is really full wall, you can chop the sides, you know, because you have only one tile of wood, so you can really chop easily there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really mind Quarry. I like the map. I like the map. I think you have to be really careful because if you try to go FC super greedy approach, you can get punished really easy. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna see definitely a lot of strats here for sure.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. The next one, it's a popular map that we've never seen before, and that's Reverse Acropolis. So Acropolis is a super popular map. We've seen it a lot in a lot of different tournaments. Reverse Acropolis we've never seen. It's so just for everyone. So Acropolis is a really open map. So players begin in a generally players on Acropolis begin on a hill. Reverse Acropolis, you begin in the valley. So in this iteration of Acropolis, everything's basically reversed. So players begin in a valley with they have slopes up from their base that can't be built on. The starting resources for each player are the standard, but wood is scarce. And then on the hill, that's where you have the more plentiful resources. There's a central pond to fight over, which contains some fish. There's a herd of deer nearby as well. There's palm forests. Additional boars can be found at the top of the slopes. Stone and gold mines appear scattered throughout the map as well. So there's much change in your thought process going into this, knowing that you're at the bottom of a hill rather than at the top of the hill at the start. Because in my mind, the way it would make me think is when you're at the top of the hill, from a defensive point of view, you've got an advantage, right? Because you can fight the opponent who's coming up the hill, and you've got the higher elevation. With this, I can imagine like siege pressure, like Stranded, right, where your golds are basically at the bottom of hills. I can see siege pressure being really, really strong here. Is that kind of how you're thinking about this, or does your thinking change between playing Acropolis, between playing Reverse Acropolis, or is it basically the same?
I think there are a few changes that are important. For example, in the center, you don't have fishing chips, you know. So that is kind of a deal. So Persians are not really good here as it was in Acropolis.
So is there no pond on Reverse Acropolis then?
No, there is no pond. Yeah, it's like,
there's no pond.
There is
right,
a pond
okay.
with no fish, basically.
Right. Okay. Understood. Okay. So yeah. So normally like Persians are selected quite a lot, and Persians have quite a high win rate on this map as well. They've won 7 out of 8 games in S tier tournaments since 2020. Hindustanis have also been played a lot, but that also crosses over with, I think, Indians were played a lot on this map back before the change. So outside of that, do you think like Chinese, Hindustanis are going to be popular on this map? Is there any other civs that you think, now that Persians are less viable without the pond, is there any other civs that you think could come into play here?
I think honestly, this map is like asking for a FC kind of stuff, like a Restos Forum strat or something like that. Because you have the woods and the gold all super close to your TC, kind of. So really easy to wall. You have the stone also easy to wall. Your enemy is not that close. I don't know. I just think that we are going to see the meta players just go for scouts or meta arms, and then I definitely can see some players going FC, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I think just looking at Acropolis in the past, Hart has a really good record on this map on Acropolis generally. He's got 6 out of 7 wins. Hera's got a really average record on Acropolis actually. So he's won just 5 of 9 games, and that's pretty good, but for Hera that's quite bad, right? Like he's normally, like, his win rate on most maps is like 70-80% because of how good he is, but it's one of the maps where I would look at and go, okay, that maybe Reverse Acropolis if it's going to be relatively similar. But then again, meta players, players like Hart, players like Hera, probably going to do quite well on these maps, if it kind of leans into that meta play style too. Cool. Another water map in the map pool is Seychelles. So we saw that recently at Lingyuan Cup as well. So for Seychelles, the map consists of elevated player lands that are connected by desert terrain. In the middle is a lake filled with a dense amount of fish surrounded by palm and straggler mangrove forest with a few crocodiles. Outside are smaller islands of different sizes that contain rock oysters, forests, crocodiles, but most importantly, additional gold and stones. The oceans outside offer fewer fish, but are crucial in late game as the outside waters have more access into the enemy's base. For Seychelles, most common matchup, Dravidians versus Italians. So I think that makes sense. One of the interesting things about it is Dravidians have won 11 out of 15 games in S tier tournaments against the Italians. Italian Mirror is also very popular. Italians versus Japanese is also popular as well. One thing to note just from Gold, Jordan has a really good record on water maps in general. I think Jordan's won like 9 out of 12 water maps in S tier tournaments. Freak and Andy as well is really good. He's won 8 out of 12. So for Seychelles, is it similar to Northern Crossings in terms of your approach? Just like kind of a standard water map approach, or is there anything else to consider there, and any other civs or strategies that you kind of need to look out for? Or is it pretty much just water map strategy?
At least for me, I think it's a little bit different, especially because you start with less food, right? You have only one boar. You don't have deers, so obviously you have a small ponds, like fishing chips around the bush, but I don't think that's enough. So for me, at least, the difference between this and Northern Iceland is that this is more like a slower kind of map. You have to you can't really go aggressive like men at arms and transport your army because you don't have the resources to afford it.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a defensive map at the beginning. Let's say like you just play with dog, and maybe you can go for a kind of scout approach as well, but definitely not the aggressiveness that you can find of other hybrid maps.
It's interesting you say that as well, like that, because when you look at the amount of closed maps, when you look at Seychelles, which you mentioned is also a defensive map, when we talked about reverse Acropolis as well being something you can fast castle on, a couple of other maps like Quarry being something you can fast castle on, it sounds like we're not going to see a ton of feudal pressure in these tournaments, and it sounds like there are at least half of the maps are going to be more suited to kind of fast castle play. Is that kind of how you're seeing the map pool at the moment?
Yeah, we are definitely going to see fast castle plays. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not much
Yeah,
more
I
to
feel
say.
that way.
Yeah. So the next map what I wanted to look at is Slopes. So Slopes is a semi-open map. So players start in an open valley littered with resources with fixed strips of forest on each side of the map. I feel like I've seen these maps be very aggressive in the past. I don't know if I'm just misremembering, but I feel like even though it's kind of like a more of a semi-open map, I feel like I have seen some super aggressive plays on this. The main civ chosen for this by far is Hindustanis. They've been selected at 14 games. 8 of those were Hindustani mirror matches. What civs do you look at for a map like this? Because in my head, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, it's a semi-open map. You're kind of on opposite sides. You've got decent wood lines. It looks relatively wallable. Do you kind of think of it as the same as like your kind of semi-open Arabia type civs would be generally good on this map, or what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same as Arabia map, semi-open map. Sometimes you have really good map in this, they're really easy to wall, but another times you have like really like not bad map, but it's really tricky to wall. Sometimes the wall are but forwards. I don't know. I just played a lot of these maps, and I think it's going to be more like Arabia. Honestly, it's just you're just gonna see like way a lot. You're going to see Hindustanis, maybe Chinese if it's open. I don't think so, but definitely one of the best ships on semi-open maps. Maybe Georgians as well. A lot of mobility and easy to wall ships and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I that was kind of my thought process looking at it. I was thinking it would be a lot of Arabia type civs, civs that would do generally quite well on Arabia would do quite well here. By the sounds of it, this sounds like something that you've practiced a lot, and maybe would be more popular. Do you see this being quite a popular map in the map pool?
Yeah, I think it's popular. Yeah, especially because it's like standard, nothing crazy. Just resources, 2 big walls on the 2 big woods on the sides, and nothing else. So yeah. I definitely can see it being popular on the map pool. Yeah.
One of the maps I really love watching and I think I saw some really good games of it last year, was Stranded. So players start on the beach of the main island with all of their villagers together in a group. The center of the map has an elevated jungle with gold deposits located at the bottom of the hill, making them prime targets for players to pressure. The surrounding water also has abundant deep fish available. We saw this last in Warlords 4. One of the things that was interesting is Wu have been selected 5 times on Stranded now, but have only actually won once. And Huns are also quite popular, and they've got a 6 out of 4 record on this map too. Huns v Wu has happened twice, with the Huns winning both of those games as well. This is another one of those maps like Coast Arena where I've played it a couple of times. I hate it. And I don't think I never want to play it when I see it. But I love watching it. And I think that battle in the middle, seeing who can get that siege pressure on the golds, I think is really exciting as well. What are your thoughts on this map? Is this something that you enjoy? Is this a map you're not so fond of? And what civs and strategies you think do well here?
No, I definitely like this map. I think this map is a little bit different of the Stranded with 9 villagers start. You don't have the junk, or I don't remember the name, but the ship that give you gold. You just start with
The
a fishing
foxes,
ship
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You just start with a fishing ship here instead, and for that reason, I think Hans. This is a personal take. I just feel like Hans are not that good in this map in particular. They were a lot better on the 9 villagers start for sure.
Right.
Because you start with less wood, so you can really make the dock right away. So that's kind of, it's giving you like your free fishing ship being idle a lot of time. So I don't know. I really like this map. I think it's really aggressive. One of the things they remove, if I'm not mistaken, in this particular version are the wolf in the middle. You don't have wolf. So you can just send villagers to make a forward tower and you will not get punished. You can go many arms and you will not lose HP. So that's really good, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. So it makes it a lot more of an aggressive map then, right? Like, it gives you a lot more opportunity for early aggression, not just necessarily, trying to get to, mangonels on the hill, and which is obviously still, I think, one of the ideal ways to play this map. But in terms of civs, then, so who would you go for then on this particular version? What kind of civs do you think would do well here?
I will keep the standard one. Let's say I think Italians are really good, Japanese are really good. Hans, I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not sure about Hans. Wu are really good as well. Maybe Georgians as well is tricky. I mean, Georgians is really good in any hybrid map, but I don't know. I think those are the probably the most big sips. Armenians as well, maybe.
Yeah. But my thought process when as soon as you said Japanese, like Japanese and Armenians, right? It's that you can do that heavy kind of feudal pressure. You can go into like long swords with Armenians. You've also got the what is it, the galley bonus for Armenians as well. And also for Japanese, obviously with the better fishing ships, and also being able to do that kind of early man at arms pressure as well. Could snowball really quickly on this on this map, I think. So yeah, that would be quite interesting. So we've got 2 more left to talk about. So the next is Tulou. So the way this is described, so effectively you've got a small base protected by circular fortified palisade walls. The players can find lots of gold inside and outside their bases. For stone and a little bit of surplus food, they need to cut to the outside of the map. I've never seen this map before. I've seen clips of it from A-tier tournaments and from other different tournaments. Have you played this a lot? Like, how have you practiced this one? I know you said you're not a big fan of closed maps anyway. Like, what are your thoughts here?
Honestly, I haven't played this map a lot. I have seen it a few times in the past tournaments, but I'm not a big fan of this kind of map, like I said. So this is probably a ban for me.
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe I will practice this week and it will be my best map. But for now, it's a ban for sure.
Yeah, I think that might be the case of when it's a new map, and I think when if your preference is to play more of a kind of meta style, or if you're going into it and there are, especially if you're going in where you think, I feel like I'm competitive with these people, I don't feel like I need to do any cheese strategies in order to beat them. That maps that could easily start getting that could encourage cheese strategies and could maybe cause an upset or two, right? So I look at this map as one of those that we've kind of listed, those types of maps that are gonna maybe cause a couple of upsets because players just haven't practiced them and are so used to them. Those types of closed maps can be really tricky. Yeah. So last one is Valley. So Valley, again, semi-open map. It's features a valley surrounded by small foothills at the edge, with a small, almost dried up river with shorefish and huntable animals running through the center. Interestingly, the most common matchup on this map, we haven't seen a ton of this map in S-tier tournaments, but Aztecs and Chinese are the most common that I've seen. Is that do you feel like the same? Do you feel the same here? Do you feel like Chinese and Aztecs do quite well, or is there what civs do you kind of consider for something like Valley, where it feels pretty standard? It doesn't feel like it differs too much from kind of like meta play. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think Chinese is always good in any kind of semi-open map. So I definitely see Chinese being one of the best tips here. Just Aztecs, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about Aztecs, but definitely about Chinese. I think this is going to be rather a meta map, like going scouts, from arms, maybe the middle, because you have a lot of chickens in the middle.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see Mongols here, for example. Maybe Magyars, maybe Georgians, that kind of sips.
Yeah.
Maybe Inca as well, trying to rush really fast. Because if you can just go to the middle, you have to think about all the possibilities. If your enemy just go man arms and you are in the middle without nothing, you are just dead. So I can definitely see the man arm play here.
One of the other things that just generally more not talking specific maps, just something I just thought of. Obviously with the Red Bull tournament, they've banned use of the siege tower, right? I don't believe that I've seen anything from T90 saying that banned in this tournament. Have you heard anything, or as far as you know, is the siege tower fire lancer kind of play still viable in this tournament?
I haven't heard anything, honestly. So for now, at least, I think it's completely legal.
Yeah. I'm just thinking with the with the amount of infantry that's maybe being used, and obviously with how cheap kind of fire lancers are, do you expect that to be used a lot on these maps, or is there something about these maps that would maybe stop that being used as aggressively as it's been used, like on the Red Bull ladder, for example?
Honestly, I think we're going to see them. Maybe not as much as in the Red Bull, because with Koreans just starting feudal age, it's a little bit different. But we are gonna definitely see Siege Tower here because it's really good. It's really good. It has to be nerfed, and I think it's going to be nerfed, honestly.
I think it has to be. I think as soon as if it's being banned from a tournament because it's so overpowered and because it's I don't like using the word abused for stuff like this, because it's it's still legal, it's still game legal, it's still in the game, so I still think it's totally fair for people to want to use it if they're allowed to. But yeah, like you say, I think when it gets to that point where it's being banned, I think that's when it needs a nerf, right? Like it's I can't remember too many times in the last few years where something has specifically been banned from a tournament because it's too overpowered. So that's just something I think is topical and probably worth a mention as well for this tournament, because I do wonder if there are certain maps where that comes up and that becomes a more of a play, and people are just spamming it and going Siege Tower Fire Lancer. It might. This is a long tournament, right? Like, and if we're playing on one patch throughout the entire tournament, then it might be the case where that comes up. I don't know. But, yeah. So that kind of covers the map pool. We've covered the groups, and we've talked strategies, civs, maps. So Sobek, thank you very much for joining me for this preview video. A reminder to everyone that you can watch TTL5 on YouTube and on Twitch by following T90's official channels. You can watch Gold and Silver. I believe TWest is streaming. I think OrnLu the Wolf will probably be streaming on his channel as well. And multiple other alternative casts are going to be available. The tournament's going to run from January 26th to March 22nd, and I'm expecting a lot of entertaining games. So thank you for joining us, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more of this content.